Now let's talk about the main change. I mean, your bike is completely changed to begin with reference to engine, exhaust, carburetor. The main thing, the reason why I've approached you for the video, if you can explain why have you spent that much and is it worth it?
These are running on Zedling Suspensions. Zedling is a brand that comes, it's actually a Pune-based company.
Okay guys, so welcome back to my channel. So this is a customized Impulse. It's like a wolf in sheep clothing. It looks standard, but there are quite a few changes in it. So let me introduce the owner, Gautam. Please come in the frame.
Hey guys.
So Gautam, first of all, congrats staying true to the Impulse, not buying an xpulse by selling it. That's very rare. So please tell us what are the changes you have done, and especially with reference to the suspension.
To start off with, as you can see, it's got the Karizma engine.
Yes.
This is a ZMR engine that's running on an oil cooler. So you can see the oil cooler on the other side.
So this is the latest, was the last Hero Honda Karizma engines, because I can see Hero written
Hero
here.
engine, yeah. So it's got the Hero badging on it.
Yes.
So this was the last of the Hero engines that was made for the ZMR. Originally, this engine is actually an FI.
Fuel injected
engine, but it's obviously converted to a carburetor.
Okay.
And initially I was running on an NS200 carburetor.
Yes.
After which I started finding a few issues in it where, I wasn't feeling the punch that I needed.
Okay.
So that's the reason why I finally switched to a Karizma carburetor, which is the Kihin one from the older Hero Honda.
Okay.
So that's what is on that. Yeah.
So just for my understanding, because obviously you're switching from the NS to the Karizma carburetor, and quite a few people tell the absolute opposite.
Right.
What is the reason for which you have shifted out of the NS carburetor?
So to be very honest with you, the NS carburetor is a great carburetor for the Karizma engine. But what it does is it makes your bike very punchy only after say like 6,000 RPM.
Okay.
That's what at least I've felt
that's your
personally
experience.
with my experience is what I'm saying.
Okay.
The Karizma carburetor gives you the true nature of the Karizma engine, so to speak. The NS kind of pulls out that whole characteristics and makes it more punchy, and something that I wasn't looking out for. I've had a Karizma before this, and I sold the Karizma to buy the Impulse. So I was so used to the Karizma characteristics that I wanted to retain the same when it came to the Impulse. So that's the reason why the entire change from the NS carburetor to the Karizma carburetor back again.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get back to you folks with reference to the carburetor.
Right.
Because what I have done is I have recently purchased a Hero Honda Oil Cooled Engine.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, these are the 20 horsepower engines, right?
Yeah. 19.8 on paper.
So my mechanic has convinced me the NS carburetor is the perfect fit. So let's see. I have Gautam's NS carburetor. I'll be placing it in my Impulse, and let me see if I'm facing the same issue.
Right.
Because Gautam, what I've realized is my mechanic, being a Impulse, enthusiast himself, he emphasizes that NS gives you the good initial torque, while you are saying the NS torque is coming only post 4,000 RPM, the kick.
Right.
True. Let's see.
I think it's also got to do with the way you're jetting your carburetor and probably tuning it in the right manner.
Okay.
Probably all this while when I had the NS carburetor, my tuning was in such a state that probably it was only pushing in after the 4,000, 6,000
Yeah,
RPM
because... Okay, yeah, exactly. And with reference to your Karizma carburetor, it is stock. You have not jetted it now.
No, I've not jetted it. Only thing that I've done is it's the main jet or the slow jet that has been changed.
Okay.
So that's the only one thing that has been changed on it. Otherwise, it's pretty much stock. So I got a brand new carburetor for it. So as you can see, it's all shiny apart from everything else.
How much did you get the carb for?
So I got lucky because there was this place in Ludhiana. It was actually a service center. And they were closing down. So they had this carb lying with them for a very long time because they had initially put it up on a bike.
Yeah.
But then somehow it didn't work out. The guy didn't come for its payment and blah blah blah. So originally it cost I think 6,500 or 6,800. Yes. I was lucky to get it for 2,500.
You were lucky. Because the dilemma over here is you get these engines for around 5,500.
It's very cheap.
And then you get the carburetor for 6,000.
It's crazy. So that's most of your commuter Karizmas that you see on the road, those beat up ones that people are riding.
Yeah.
They usually don't have a Karizma carburetor left because they don't have the money to spend.
Exactly.
To pay 6,800 bucks to get a new one.
And most of the commuter Karizmas go at 50 and 60 ka speed bands, so it doesn't really matter.
They really don't get. They run like unicorns essentially.
Exactly. Okay.
Yep.
So, but
That's
again, you have just done the carburetor yesterday. I've ridden your bike as well. It's still a work in progress.
yes,
so,
yes, still a work in progress. I'm not very happy with what the current situation is like. But yeah, I will be fiddling around with the carburetor, probably go with a few jetting sizes and stuff.
yeah.
So hopefully, yeah, I reach where I wanted to be.
Yeah, I think you are like halfway through because when I've ridden it, it felt pretty flat all the way, but just
Right.
that kick wasn't there. But again, it was for day one. Maybe after a week or so, I'll make a video specifically regarding the carburetor.
I'm going to be on it for the next 1 or 2 weeks. So hopefully by then it should be the way I'm expecting it to be.
Exactly. Perfect. So this is with reference to the carburetor, the engine. Now let's talk about your exhaust.
So
Even though it looks stock, it isn't.
yeah, it looks stock, but it's not. I'll tell you why. Because this is a custom free flow bent pipe that I got done from Mark Performance.
Okay.
There are these guys in Worli.
Okay.
You can probably just link them in your video.
Okay.
So that's a custom bent pipe made just for the 390 end can that I fit onto this.
Okay.
So it gives me that good initial sound, and it's not very loud.
It's not
compared
loud,
to your
yeah.
other aftermarket ones like your Akrapovic copies and stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, it does a fair bit of good job. And considering that it's a custom bent pipe, so there is enough flow happening inside the exhaust itself.
Why don't you start the exhaust? We can just hear it all.
So if you can hear, the idling is very mild.
Yeah.
So even if you're riding at very low RPMs, it's not going to sound. It's only when you rack it
Is when the sound comes. Okay, got that. So I did notice a little black smoke coming when you really revved it up.
Right.
So
right.
do you have any like piston issues?
I don't think I have any piston issues. There is a bit of valve issues that I'm having. One of the valves is slightly loose.
Okay.
But for that I'll have to open up the head and all of that. Yeah.
So your oil changes are regular. That means it's not much of an issue.
My oil changes on every of my bikes is in 2,000 kilometers. So even if I'm riding it or not, it's 2,000 kilometers and I'm
That's
done.
it?
Or every year if I'm not riding. Say the Yamaha and stuff, I don't really ride a lot nowadays.
But Yamaha does not require
But I still
changing.
make sure that I'm getting through. It's not like I'm going with synthetic oil and stuff. I generally use only semi-synthetic or mineral based. Synthetic is not the way I go, at least personally. But yeah, the service intervals is what I've been following throughout ever since I've been having these.
But with reference to my brief research as well, with engines, these are not high compression engines that you require synthetic oil.
Which is the reason why a synthetic oil really doesn't make sense. And moreover, with the climate that we are having here in Bombay, with all this humidity and all this heat, the synthetic barely has any life left. So I have people who have synthetic oil on their bikes and they end up changing it every 1,000-1,500 kilometers. And it's like what, $800-1,200 for a bottle of oil.
Yeah,
so
obviously.
It is expensive. So I mean, if you want to maintain these bikes, going for such expensive things, not my recommendation personally.
I understand. Now let's talk about the main change. I mean, your bike is completely changed to begin with reference to engine, exhaust, carburetor. The main thing, the reason why I've approached you for the video, if you can explain why have you spent that much and is it worth it?
Okay, so yeah, I've been getting a lot about this, but yeah, let me tell you that. These are running on Zedling Suspensions. Zedling is a brand that comes, it's actually a Pune-based company. And they are into custom suspension building they started off with Impulse, but later on they went on to the Himalayan, they went to the 390 Adventure. So they've been making custom suspensions for a lot of bikes now. So yeah, it's an expensive ordeal. It's 21,000 or 22,000 rupees for the entire set. That includes your rear monoshock.
Yeah.
And the front has got complete inners from Zedling. So that's got a custom. You've got your pipes. You've got your springs. You've got your dampeners. You've got your oil. Everything is custom from Zedling. And the only great part about Zedling is that everything is recustomizable, revalvable, respringable. So pretty much it's bulletproof. Yeah, I mean, I just need to change the parts whenever I require. Otherwise, I don't need any replacement whatsoever.
Okay, but 21,000.
I know. I've got a lot about that from people where it's really expensive. But to think of it, for us to keep changing it again and again, like how you have done an xpulse suspension on yours, xpulse again, the stock suspension is not revalvable, not respringable.
I know that.
So say 5 to 6 years time, if you're beating up your bike really bad, 5 to 6 years is what I'd give a life for a suspension. You will have to replace it all over again, so you'll have to spend the same amount again.
I get that, but
the thing here is that it's a completely done up investment in which I'm only then spending on just revalving and respringing. Apart from that, I don't have to change the module in itself.
okay.
So that's one thing that I really found a plus point. Plus, the USP of Impulse is its suspension.
Absolutely.
So there is no letting go on quality and say the performance of suspensions when it comes to the Impulse. Any other bike you can just live off with any other
Yeah,
cheap
so I mean, we were just having a conversation. I myself own a Yamaha. Even though these suspensions justify the 1980s and 90s, it's just that once you're spoiled with this suspension, going to any other bike is like it's like a downgrade.
Yeah, totally. Because ever since I got the Impulse and now with the Zedling suspension, I have become very harsh with riding. So my riding style has become very harsh. So now for me to ride the RX or say any other bike that I own, it becomes very difficult for me to pay attention and go slow over potholes. Because I'm so used to the Impulse's rigidity that now it's becoming really difficult for me to switch back to any of these bikes.
You need to rewire your brain that this is not an impulse, you need to slow down.
Oh yeah, totally. So I mean, it's becoming difficult at times because my Impulse is a daily rider. So I ride it to work every day. So suddenly then on a Sunday, if we guys plan out a RX ride, it becomes very difficult for me to get in tune with that. Like I have to keep reminding myself, Baba, you have to go slow.
Exactly. So apart from the reusability aspect, did you find an upgrade with reference to suspension?
Oh yeah, totally. So I usually ride with my girlfriend, and me and her included are easily 200 kilos.
Okay.
So with me and her sitting on this, I'm easily be able to jump over potholes at 40 kmph, and that's not something I could do with the stock suspension, even if I buy it brand new. Another great thing about the front is that there is no nosediving anymore. So if you notice, I don't have that level of nosedive what you normally get. So you see the spring and the respringing. It's not the way the normal Impulse suspension used to be. So when I'm say riding harsh and suppose I do a quick braking only on the front, my bike is not diving down. The nosedive is not happening anymore. So that's one thing that's really good when it comes to the front. In the rear, again, there is barely any movement when I'm going over potholes. So even when my girlfriend's sitting behind me, she's like, she doesn't feel any of the potholes because the bike is pretty much straight. It's only the swing arm and the suspension that is moving and it's doing its job. So in that way, I feel that it's a really good upgrade.
So kudos to the brand. The good thing is it's a made in India product.
Yes.
So that's also a plus point.
They're Pune based. They're really good with their work. And plus the good part is they've got really good service. So even today, if I sit down and I text Zedling about anything that I'm having an issue with, they're like, hey, no worries, just come down, we'll get it fixed. They're very helpful in that manner. And since they're also enthusiasts in themselves, so they do understand the kind of requirements that you need. So
I understand.
That way it's a win-win situation. No doubt, the money is high. But I mean, personally, I have not experienced any issues ever since I got this upgrade.
And how many months have you been using this Zedling?
Zedling, it's been about 5 to 6 months now. 5 to 6 months
so it's a recent purchase.
Yeah, it's a recent purchase. I went down to Pune to fit it there with the guys there. But yeah, I mean, ever since I've had it, it's been only good. It's only good, no bad.
Yeah. And again, it's not only the Impulse, even if I'm not mistaken, the Himalayan, the suspension is around 40,000 or so.
Yes.
So they aren't cheap, but they're good in quality, so that's a good thing.
Totally.
For people who have the money, why not?
I would really go for the Zedling if I had the money, like I was saying. It's a really good investment, like I said.
Perfect. Okay, so that is covered. Now the tires. I noticed the pattern and immediately I thought it's a Seat tire. But this isn't. This is
actually it's a Taiwanese brand called Timsun.
Okay.
So Timsun got into India with the sole purpose of making cheaper tires for expensive bikes. So when it comes to all your Triumphs and stuff like that, because they run on Pirellis, they end up spending around 40-50k for a pair.
Yeah.
This is cheaper, but still more expensive than any of your Indian brands. So this pair itself, I think, is like 11k for front and rear both.
11k?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. That's the money put into it. Yeah.
So that's one Impulse right below a second-hand Impulse, 21,000 suspension, 11k tires.
Yeah, I mean, for someone to talk to me about this, and when I tell them about the expenses, they're like, dude, are you stupid? What kind of money are you putting into this bike? But again, like I said, this bike, the Impulse, has been a project bike for me.
And
So
you're
this is
using
where
it on everyday basis.
Yeah, totally.
So it's not like you're using it only in the weekend that
Not
you're...
at all, not at all. I beat it up. If I have to go to the nearby store, I take it. If I have to go down to the highway, I take it. I take it wherever I want to. So there is no issues whatsoever when it comes to the running of this vehicle. Not at all.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Okay. Then I've noticed this really cool looking phone cover.
Yeah, so I just got this. It's actually rebuilt from another handlebar. if I'm not wrong. I think it's an RX or some kind of handlebar that has just been reshaped to fit into this as a holder.
Damn.
So I don't know if you
That
know,
is
but
creative.
I think there's a guy in our group itself. His name is Suyog. He's the one who built this for me.
Okay.
So that's that. So that just adds a aesthetical value, puts the phone up high, so then it's much more easy to read and stuff like that.
Okay.
And plus, there's not a lot happening on the handlebar because there's already so much happening.
Exactly.
So I didn't want to add more weight to that.
Does your speedo work?
Yep, it does.
Oh, your speedo works.
Yeah, I put a new speedometer along with the engine. So ever since I got the engine, it's 12,000 kilometers since that.
Oh. Okay, so that's a good thing that the speedometer is working. Very rarely do you see an Impulse with a working speedometer and looks brand new as well. So the speedometer costed you around 3,800.
Yeah, that's a 3,800 speedometer plus you get the front sensor, which is I think for 1,200 bucks. It's on the other side.
Yeah, so basically when you mention the sensor, you mention this entire wire.
Yeah, this entire wire and this
okay.
sensor that's there.
Okay, how much did it cost for this?
I think this costed me 800 or 1,200 bucks. I'm not very sure.
Yeah, it's worth it, man.
Because it was also powder coated in black, so it got a little expensive that way. But yeah, otherwise so there's a guy who started making this as kits. So he's soon going to get them in production, so that's going to be much cheaper than what I paid.
No, but it looks good.
Yeah, it looks in place, plus gives it a little aesthetical feel to it as well.
And this bark busters?
So these are not real barkbusters, these are replicas. You can get them from Garage 08. There's this Instagram page called Garage 08 where you can pretty much get all of these aftermarket parts for cheap.
Okay, and how much?
This is I think 1,200.
1,200, okay. Okay. It's a good thing you didn't go original on this.
Yeah, the original ones cost 12,000. Yeah, I mean, for the money that I've spent, otherwise you would think that I would go for that.
No, but this is not flimsy at all.
It's not flimsy at all. Plus, it does the job. So
yeah.
No
if
issue.
you wouldn't have told me it's on the first copy, I would have assumed it's original.
Yeah.
Then you have this.
Yeah, I've got the Domino quick throttle.
How much?
That's again from Garage 08. I think that's another 800 or 1,200 bucks.
Oh, this is worth
another
it, man.
Another
just
cheap.
Just this much. That's it. And
yeah,
it's gone.
That's it. So you get it with the two grips.
And how much for the handlebar?
The handlebar, I don't know, because when I purchased the Impulse second-hand, I got this handlebar with it. So I really don't know the cost of that.
Oh.
But yeah, apart from that, it's just these switches and all these things that I've changed as per my liking.
And have these mirrors been removed or
No, so there were these convex blind spot mirrors. I've just removed them because it keeps falling off otherwise. So I've just removed them for
concave.
Sorry?
Concave or convex?
Oh, convex, no?
Convex is inside, no?
Concave, sorry, my bad. I'm bad with my science.
Okay. ठीक है. Anything to the seat?
Yeah, so I've done custom foam work on the seat, so it's slightly taller in that sense. This part has been taller. And I've also made this a little wider for the pillion.
Okay.
So yeah, it sits much upright. So as you can see, it does tiptoe a little, but it's still more upright. Gives me a better position and a better control over the road.
Yes, I can see that. And has this Zedling suspension increased the ground clearance, or is it?
It has increased by, I think.
Because you're tiptoeing, you're not supposed to tiptoe.
Yeah, so this has increased it by I think 1.6 inches if I'm not wrong. It's not exactly 2. It's about 1.6 inches that the height has increased.
Okay, still have a decent height.
Yeah.
And I can see a bash plate as well. So this is like the Karizma ka bash plate,
yeah, this is the Karizma bash plate that Raj Auto is selling. So it's a Karizma ZMR bash plate for the Impulse. It's a slightly heavier gauge. It's slightly heavier. So not really recommended that way when it comes to enduro. Okay. But yeah, I think it does a good job. I think it costed 2,600, 26 or 28. So
you're spending 2,600, you well just buy a Impulse, xpulse.
No, so the thing is that at that point in time when I was looking for this, the xpulse one never fitted because it was the BS4 model. Okay. After which the BS6 came. Okay. So before that is when I already purchased this. So that happened. So otherwise I would have gone for the xpulse. That's much lighter and much better and looks good as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is just covering the base.
It only covers the base. There's no side cutting. Yeah, true. True.
But again, I just think this is, I mean, yeah, aesthetically it looks good, but does it really help?
See, as my personal thing with going for the engine guard was only so that I'm not hitting rocks underneath.
Okay.
So as far as doing that job, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Aesthetic is not something I've worked on the aesthetics otherwise.
Yeah. Perfect. So I think this is it. Is there anything else that your bike has that I haven't covered?
Nothing. Yeah, just the basics. It's got the usual stuff that you see on any other Impulse. That's nothing else. There's nothing major otherwise. There's some custom stickering and stuff like that. Got the tank shrouds and the visor done in white. That's it. Pretty much done.
Perfect. So thanks, man. You're sweating it out. I can see that.
It's bloody hot, yeah. Bloody sunny right now, and crazy weather in Bombay. It's been raining in the evening, all sunny in the during the daytime. So humidity is at its peak. So
Gautam has put in a lot of effort. You can see that he's sweating it out already. And I'll be covering his Yamaha as well, and that will be obviously in another video. So till then, thank you for viewing. Thanks, Gautam, and I'll see you in the next one.